You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. My name is Simon Javan Okello, and we are live now on YouTube as well as here on Clubhouse. And we are going to have an amazing conversation with Javan the poet, who is joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. And I am in Seattle, Washington myself. Javan the poet and myself share a name, and I just want to, share with you a little bit about him. But before I do that, I want to share what the proverb of today is. The proverb from today is from Kenya, and Javan is also in the streets of Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. He is an amazing individual. But the poem says, "A big goat does not snort without reason. A big goat does not snort without reason." So Javan is going to share with us his interpretation of this poem, of this proverb, and then he's going to share with us a few poems as well. He's in traffic. In Nairobi streets. So from time to time, his network is not going to be very clear. So I hope you will bear with me and Javan for that. But today is also the Friday sessions that are French edition. So in case you're a French speaker and you're in the audience, just raise your hands. We are going to have our other moderators who can communicate with you in French. But I'm just grateful, and I'll say merci beaucoup in case there are other French speakers in the room. For now, I want to bring in my wonderful brother here, Javan the poet, so that he can also just briefly introduce himself. Javan is in Nairobi, and we connected online, but I've been seeing a lot of the work that Javan has been doing. And then because we have a similar name and our name is not very common, Javan, one of the things I want you to share with me later on today is the meaning of your name, this Javan name. Where did you get it, and what do you think it means? It's something I'm curious to hear what you'll say about. But Javan, his full names are actually Javan Omondi Ofula, and
Yes.
Javan has just been an amazing voice in the Kenyan art community, and he's based in Nairobi, and I just want to read a little bit about him here. He's been part of various movements and alliances to impact, conversations in Kenya. For example, in places like Dandora, Kayole, Mukuru. These are, communities where art is sometimes the only hope that youths have. And Javan is emerging as one of the leading voices. For example, he was selected by the United Nations as one of the world artists to create the song Imagine, that was adopted as the theme song to celebrate International Youth Day in 2020. That's just last year. So Javan, I want to pass you the mic so that you can introduce yourself and share with us what your thoughts, your interpretation of this proverb is. And I want to repeat the proverb for the sake of those who are joining us on Clubhouse. A big goat does not snort without reason. Every day when we come here in the Daily African Proverbs, we dissect African proverbs, and by the end of our conversation, we also gain African wisdom. So that's why we are here, and I'm really, really grateful. We lost Jacob, as I was mentioning earlier. His network is not very good, but here he is. He's back again. So just bear with me for a moment. Okay, there we are. Network in Africa is a completely different story. So we are going to, just take our time and be at the mercy of the network from time to time, because I really want us to have this conversation with Javan. Okay, Javan, the mic is yours. Oh, I think you have muted yourself. No. You have muted yourself. Yeah, it's he's talking, but he's completely muted. Yeah, these are also the joys of producing the Daily African Proverbs, and especially when you want to involve guests who are in the continent. You have to involve them by any means necessary. So things like the network are not the biggest issues. But I want to read a few comments that I'm seeing on YouTube. We have been joined by quite a few people on YouTube. I just want to say, thank you, Roman and Ivnea and Joanne, for joining us on YouTube. And also thank you, Chioma and Mala and Coventina and David and Sarah, and also Victoria for joining us on Clubhouse. Please feel free to raise your hand on Clubhouse so that you can be a part of this conversation, so that you can also share with us what your interpretation of this proverb is. Javan, if you can hear me, we did not hear anything that you shared. You were muted the whole time, so please unmute, and then we would love to hear from you again. Hey Chioma, how are you doing? I would love for you to share with us your interpretation for a moment while I try to figure out this technical issue with our guest. And for those who are meeting Chioma for the first time, she has been an amazing contributor to the Daily African Proverbs. She's been attending and contributing to this space for a long time. And Chioma says that we will never have to be the other than who we are to be successful. We realize that we are as ourselves unlimited and our experience is valid. It is for the rest of the world to recognize this if they choose. Wow. Okay, Chioma, share with us your interpretation while I figure out what we'll do with our guest today. Thank you so much.
Bonjour, Simon. Bonjour, everybody. Je m'appelle Chioma. That's as much French as I know. But when I saw this, like, proverb, I think I was on YouTube this morning. I actually like saw that, and I was like, "What? Goats don't snort without reason." And I was like, I don't even know what that means because I don't know anything about goats. So I had to do some research. And like in doing that research, like one, I just had to recognize just how amazing our ancestors were. Like they knew so much about life, they knew so much about nature, about things, about animals, enough to actually write such a proverb. Because you have to know things, you have to know animals to actually write a proverb like that. So first that was the thing that took me, and then as I did some research about goats and snorting, one thing I learned about like goats and like the sound that they make, is that oftentimes it is either to alert, to express like a feeling or send some sort of warning to the pack. But the sounds a goat makes, um, it kind of varies by like age. So oftentimes like smaller goats make a lot more sound because they're figuring out like life, they're figuring out the world. And so what really got me about this quote is that big goats don't snort without reason. So that made me think that like big goats. And when I think about goats too, like it's funny, you know how people say you're the goat, like the greatest of all time. Like I actually think about like, giants too. People who've lived life, people who are oftentimes older, who've just had like so much experiences, like they don't snort without reason. So when people make sounds or give signals, like it is important for us to listen to them because they aren't without reason. Sometimes I feel like in the world we I don't know if it's where we've become like numb to sound, or it's ego sometimes, or what, but we don't actually like listen or hear people. And like big goats, they don't snort without reason. So it made me think of that. And it also made me think of like, as you're older, like, like, more, how to respond to things. So as a smaller goat, right, they're just responding to anything.
Yeah, this is Simon speaking. Chioma, we lost your audio there for a moment. I think you're still
Oh,
speaking.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We
Uh-oh.
lost you when you said goats don't respond to anything or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just saying, because like smaller goats, like they're responding, they're responding, making sounds like various things, because they're learning, they're figuring out like the world, they're figuring out the space. Whereas like big goats, they're more in tuned. So they respond to things better, and when they do make noise and when they do respond, it's in a very intentional way. So that is like all the things that this proverb made me think about. So there I go. Thank you so much. I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Chioma. Yeah, I love that. And I'm grateful for your presence here. And also, I want to welcome you, Sarah, Victoria, Mala, Teoti, and happily join us on stage and share with us what your interpretation of today's proverb is. I also want to give a shout out to Joanne, who is on, of course, she was on Clubhouse for a moment, but now she's on YouTube. Ivnia has been there as well, and then Roman. Thank you all for being with us today. We have technical difficulties with Javan, the poet. He's on traffic, and so he's stuck in traffic in Nairobi, and so we've been having a hard time, hearing him. But the proverb today from Kenya is amazing, really, and I feel that even if you had a goat, like a herd of goats, or you had several goats that you're keeping, let's say like it's literally goats, when you do see the bigger one snorting or doing something unusual, then you start, you need to pay a little more attention. It's an indication of something bigger. Also, this is a reminder with parenting. I have 3 girls, and they're normally, there is the behavior and the regular things you expect to see of them to know that everything is fine. But sometimes they lose it. Sometimes they have a bad day and they lose it. Just like us. Then that's a moment where, for example, with this proverb, it reminds us that maybe it's time to engage them in a deeper conversation to understand why things changed so suddenly. But also sometimes, for me, this type of a proverb is also something you can apply to even leadership. When you want to understand even the leadership in an organization or government leadership, I think this proverb, you can use it. It's like an investigative proverb. If you see that a leader is not doing things a certain way, there are bigger problems than what you see. So you need to, if let's say you're a journalist, then you can investigate more and maybe bring other stories to life, But if you are a taxpayer, let's say it's a government situation, then you need to question more why you're paying for something that you're not getting. But really, for me, it's a proverb that can be applied to so many different situations. I'm really excited to hear what Mala has to say as well. Mala has been, an amazing supporter of the Daily African Proverbs. and she says that I amplify nouns, I believe in, and move crowds. She's focused on digital engagement, and also she's a problem solver, social curator, and virtual host. I just appreciate your continued support, Marla, and share with us what your interpretation of today's proverb is. The mic is yours.
Good morning, greetings, and bonjour, everyone. Thank you, Simon. Yes. And when I say I amplify nouns, right, people, places, and things that I value are things that I invest in my time and my talents. And, meeting you, Simon, in this beautiful space that you have and that you curate, and how you're bringing people together from all over the world and increasing our awareness while calling us back to these simple yet complex truths, that have existed to be North Stars and GPSs to guide us. So when I think about the proverb today, I think about the idea of what comes with growth, the big goat, right? What happens when we amass wisdom and understanding, and the idea that when we are wise, we listen, not just more than we speak, but we're listening to understand, so that when we choose to make noise or utterance or to inject ourselves in a thing, it is with purpose, with intention, and in a lot of cases, much more impactful. And so, where the proverb, kind of like had me think, and then listening to my sister Chioma, it really thought about the call on us as we grow in wisdom and understanding to listen and to hold space to hear those around us in any environment that we're in or participating in, as well as giving young people space. So they may make more noise because they so desperately want to be heard, right? So like that there's a reason for the silence, there's a reason for what's being uttered, there's purpose in what we're doing when we're coming together, and that we rest in that we're guided by that, and that there should be reason, right? There's a reason why we all got up today in various time zones to tune in. There's a reason why we come into this room. There's a reason why we want to be connected to you and each other. We see the value of what you're doing. You could be on Clubhouse 24 hours a day, but you have a consistent platform with so much knowledge, so much, wisdom and joy and opportunities to build community. It really is marvelous. So all that to tie it right back to what we're doing here every day. That to someone we may not always be the big goat in every situation, but to someone and in certain situations we are. And to really think about what we share, what we impart, how we encourage, how we love, and how we leave people, places, and things better than when we encountered them. This is Marla Campbell Harris, and I'm complete.
Wow, thank you so much, Myla. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. It's really true that it's there's nothing greater than leaving a place or a person better than you found them. Because a lot of the time you never know. You never know whether you did that. But if your intention is doing that, then you sleep well. You sleep well knowing that you tried. So welcome to the Daily African Proverbs here in the African Father in America Club. We do this every single day, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've been doing this since January. It used to be 7 a.m., but because of the school schedule, I had to adjust in order to accommodate the needs of my daughters. Every Friday like this, we open this space to French speakers. So if you're a French speaker in the room and you want to interpret today's proverb in French, for other French speakers in the room, we would love to hear from you. In 10 minutes, we are going to close hand raising. So those who are going to be on stage are going to be the ones who will engage a little further with today's conversation. But we have a proverb here. The proverb says, "A big goat does not snort without reason." And we've had different perspectives in the last 20 minutes, and I'm excited to hear more from everyone in the room. So thank you again for being here, and also thank you, Guy, Agnes, Oendo, and also Joanne and Ivnia and everyone joining us on the YouTube side. I'm really, really grateful. I would actually love to know on the YouTube side, just type the name of the city where you're joining us from, so that I can let everyone on Clubhouse know, who and who from where are joining us. We had a guest, Javan the poet, who is really, really talented. I love underground poets, and Javan is one of those underground poets in Kenya that have done really amazing work. And he's not known in mainstream media, so I wanted to be one of those people that help create a platform for him, and I hope that I'll continue bringing people like him. And also, if you know other guests that we can host here in the Daily African Proverbs, let me know. I'm grateful, and I do see Ivnia has joined us. I also see, of course, Happily here on Clubhouse. I see Happily, Samantha, Lexi, Marlen, and to everyone really. A lot of the time I have to describe here on Clubhouse or here on YouTube, because we are streaming on two different platforms at the same time, and I'm just grateful. When we began this room, it used to be just on Clubhouse, and slowly by slowly we are making it better. And in the next week or so, I will be bringing the Daily African Proverbs from Kenya, and I'm just excited to see who are some of the guests that we will be able to bring to this lovely space. So at this moment, thank you again, Mala. Thank you, Chioma. I'll keep you all on stage for a moment so that we can deepen this conversation. But now I want to go to Teoti, and Teoti is a student of wisdom. Is a student, Teoti Heru Baku EI. Is a student of wisdom, history, Kemetic student of art, student of trusts, business student, indigenous, Ta Amaru Khan aborigine. And he also says that our laws are preserved in our sacred proverbs. Let us follow our own laws and never beg strangers for affection. Wow. Thank you, Teoti. Please share with us your interpretation of today's proverb from Kenya. The proverb says, "A big goat does not snort without reason."
Thank you, Simon. You do such a great job. And a student of wisdom is one who listens and one who pays attention. And so you create a wonderful platform for people to learn and to gain wisdom. Your format is always calm, collected, cool, and that's just what we need in the morning. So thank you for that. And my interpretation of the big goat does not snort without a reason, for me means experience is the best teacher. And if you pay attention to detail and you pay attention to clues and context, you'll always stay one step ahead. And I'm just imagining in nature or in a village situation, if there's a big goat that's snorting, it's time to pay attention, because their own experience has them respond accordingly to what's going on around them. And so my interpretation of that proverb is pay attention to details. Experience is the best teacher, and things don't happen without cause. And so in that interpretation, I see it applying to business, to education, to relationships, and to various other areas of life. Basically, pay attention to the things around you and respond appropriately. That is my interpretation.
Wow, thank you so much. Pay attention to the things around you and respond appropriately. Yes, I agree, and I love that. Thank you so much. I'm seeing so many comments now on the YouTube side, where we have people joining us from Kenya, and we have people joining us from Asia. We have it's just an amazing situation to watch. Here on Clubhouse, I also see on stage Chioma, Mala, Teoti, and Ivnia, and Samantha. And I want to pass the mic to our brother Ivnia to share with us his interpretation of today's proverb. Here in the Daily African Proverbs room, we bring a guest a day, and we also bring a proverb a day. We dissect these proverbs with the hopes that we gain African wisdom by the end of our conversation. And so if you're on Clubhouse, I would encourage you to follow the African Father in America Club. And even if you already follow or you're a member of the club, I also encourage you to invite your friends to be a part of the African Father in America movement. We would really appreciate that, because that's how we can grow this community. And then if you're watching on YouTube, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, Simon Javan Okelo, and make sure you check out previous conversations. Each of the proverbs we discuss, immediately after the room, it's available on YouTube for you. In 3 minutes, we are going to close hand raising. So if you're in the room on Clubhouse, I encourage you to join us on stage by raising your hand within the next 3 minutes before we turn off hand raising. And then at the end of our conversation, we are going to go live on Instagram to do the recap of the Daily African Proverbs. And today I will be joined by Joanne Onyango Obunga, who has been an amazing supporter of the Daily African Proverbs. She'll be joining us from Nairobi as well. So thank you for being here. I want to introduce the amazing Ivnia Durosu, my brother, who is also an amazing contributor to the Daily African Proverbs, and also Africa Day Club, as well as the African Wisdom Club. He's been a guest in almost all those platforms. And he has also co-hosted the Instagram recap a couple of times. He's the author of the book Alike Regardless, and is a motivational speaker on diversity and inclusion. Ivnia, share with us your interpretation of today's proverb, and also please just share this proverb in French if you can, and welcome the French speakers in the room if you can. Thank you so much.
Bonjour, mon frère. Bonjour. Good morning, everyone. This is such an honor to be here with you. This proverb, a big goat does not snort without reason. Une grosse chèvre ne s'ébroue pas sans raison. As I was looking at this proverb, I was forced to research some facts, some amazing facts about goats. And I learned that goats are very smart and intelligent animals. They are clean, they're very sociable animals, and therefore they become depressed if they are separate or isolated from their companions. However, they are not flock oriented like sheep. And I also learned that goats and big goats, they have, so you have to pay attention, just like Theody was saying, you have to pay attention. And if a goat snort, they cannot do it for no reason. You have to pay attention. It means that there is something that basically is a sound of alarm. They want to let you know that something is going wrong. They use that snort to warn each other of danger, whether real or imagined. So what I gain from that, if there is someone in your life, a friend, a parent, someone you care about, when they tell you something, or they say something to you, or they make certain sound, and or they make certain movement or facing some type of gesture, you need to pay attention so that you understand what's going on. It might be a warning, something they're trying to tell you without expressing it with words. And even any anyone with maturity, you have to pay attention to them, whether they are, a friend or family member. That's what I gained from that. And with anything in life, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention because that person might be in danger. That person may want to express something that is meaningful to them and that they want you to understand. They want your intervention. This is my interpretation of this proverb. Une grosse chèvre ne s'ébroue pas sans raison. A big goat does not snort without reason. Thank you, Simon, and I release the mic.
Oh, thank you very much, my brother Ivnia. I'm grateful for your presence and also your interpretation. Merci beaucoup to the French speakers in the room. Thank you so much. And now I want to introduce my wonderful sister Samantha Udondem, who is also a big contributor to the Daily African Proverbs. Especially on Saturdays, she leads the session where we bring children into the Daily African Proverbs so that they can also share their wisdom with us. So Samantha, feel free to talk about that, but I want to share with you the mic so that you can, share with us your interpretation of today's proverb that says, a big goat does not snort without reason. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wow, TGIF, it's Friday. Oh, what a week it's been, but such a blessing to be able to share this space with everyone. Many of folks did not make it this morning, but we are here and we are surrounded by each other. We are united through the wisdom of our ancestors and just the opportunity to see this proverb in particular through the lens of our life experiences is so beautiful because we can each interpret this proverb, with our own, slight nuances, and but yet we can each gain something from what is being shared. And as as Simon mentioned, the room schedule had been changed because it's the start of the school year, and I know many parents are, it puts us into a different frame of mind, different schedule, and there are opportunities to learn so much throughout the school year, learn a lot about ourselves, learn about even the classes that our kids are taking, so grow in knowledge, and learn about our children. And I find this proverb so timely, as all proverbs, it seems, are timely. Every good word is timely. And for me, this proverb is so timely. In the process of getting your children, or my children, ready for school this morning, just noticing different characteristics, behaviors of my children. Some, very positive. Others, just demonstrate areas of in which they can grow. We are all learning, and if we are learning, how much more our children need to be given the grace to learn and to grow. And for me, this proverb really speaks to, as Brother Evener had mentioned, paying attention, paying attention to for me, specifically in this situation, paying attention to my children, you know, paying attention to their behavior, paying attention to what they're saying, making room to pay attention. I think sometimes we have a lot on our plates as parents, that we don't afford ourselves the luxury of spending enough quality time with our children to really pay attention to how they're responding to their environment, how they're responding to the stimuli around them. You know, just as we are being bombarded with a lot of, you know, things that are being thrown at us, whether it's through our jobs, through our relationships, you know, through the political climate in which we find ourselves in. Our kids are also being bombarded with a lot of external um, influences, new situations that they're coming into, and they're responding. You know, some of them are being silenced, some of them are being vocal, you know, but it's up to us to really create time and space for us to pay attention to how the world is influencing our children. And for me today, you know, that is what I get from this proverb. And I feel blessed, honestly. I really do feel blessed that this is what was shared today. I hope that, you know, if you're hearing my words, that, you know, especially if you're a parent, you know, make the time to check in with your children, see how this week has gone for them. And where I live, this has been the first week that the kids are going back to school. And I'm sure they're experiencing new things, new people, new subjects, and they are trying to make sense of it all. So it's up to me to create that time and space to make sure that I'm helping them to really understand, so that they can go back into the world next week just more prepared and ready to learn.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mentioned on Saturdays. So Saturdays, yeah, we're going to be having a room where we invite our kids, family members, friends to join us, and it's real chill. You know, we don't mind the sound of children in the background, because though they may be playing, seemingly not paying attention, they are paying attention to the community. They are paying attention to our words, and even our nonverbal, verbal interactions. They are paying attention. So I hope that you're able to join us tomorrow, same time, same place, and wishing everyone a wonderful rest of your day. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samantha. I appreciate your contribution. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you tomorrow during the Saturday sessions of the Daily African Proverbs. I'm seeing my wonderful friend Livia Kojo Alor is here. So I want to invite her to share with us her interpretation of today's proverb. And the proverb says, a big goat does not snort without reason. This is a Kenyan proverb. We were going to host, Javan the poet, who is based in Nairobi, but his network has been challenging. We might bring him back later on because he's quite an incredible poet, but also an amazing leader. So if you're meeting Livia Kojo Alor, she's a poet, singer, sword swallower, and also a writer based in London. Livia has been an amazing supporter of the Daily African Proverbs, and also an amazing supporter of Africa Day production that we did here on Clubhouse together. So Livia, I would love for you to share with us your interpretation. I hope you're doing well. I know that you had some time on vacation recently. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, Simon. It's so good to be back. I actually, I was wondering first of all what happened to Javan because I was a little bit late to the room, but that makes sense. So I hope he can come back. I was interested because he is an amazing poet. And yes, I was on holiday for almost 2 weeks, and I was actually planning to tune into the African proverbs, but I realized that I really needed to have a detox from everything and just, you know, switch the phone on and just do what I feel like. And then I spend a lot of time outside, which I don't when I'm back home in London. So it feels like I'm a little bit of a different person now, but still the same, if that makes sense. But it was really, really good after the long winter and the pandemic to have a holiday actually. So and I'm glad to be back. It's so nice to hear your voice and also see everybody on stage and Samantha's voice. And yes, the proverb of today is very interesting. When I read it the first time, I was like, oh, I don't know anything about it. Then I thought a little bit about it. And I want to read it again for me, just to like kind of marinate it again. A big goat does not snort without reason. So what I think first was a big goat, that's an adult goat, so a grown-up goat, which is an adult. But I think as we can make adult decisions even if we're not an adult under whatever adult is, the definition is by society. I mean, it's like maybe just educated decisions, like when we make good decisions for ourselves and we do think about them first. And that's something I'd like to do. But then a big goat does not snort without reason. It's also, I feel like adult decisions are to kind of focus on growth and focus on self-preservation and focusing on being good to the people who are around you, or being a good person in general, and not to get involved into drama, for example, or not creating any drama or any unnecessary problems around you. That's what I kind of feel like when I hear does not snort without reason. So, we can like live with as an adult with making good decisions for ourselves and trying to do the best for others and not get involved in any little and every little or bigger thing that's going around and letting us irritate and having opinions of things that are not important for us or others. So this is what I kind of read into this proverb today, and it's again good to be here. And I yield the mic back to you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Livia. It's always wonderful to hear your voice, and your interpretation today was definitely clear and wise. Focus on growth and self-preservation and not the unnecessary drama. So I want to just bring it back to the audience members on Clubhouse. First I want to thank you all for joining us. We have 15 minutes before the end of our conversation today, and I just want to thank everyone in the room. But I want to give a special shout out to all these amazing friends on stage. Of course, Livia and Samantha and Ivnia are part of the Daily African Proverbs production team, and the people who have helped me continue doing this room consistently. But I wanted to just gauge, just do a little survey from the members of our space today, like everyone on the stage. How are we doing with these Daily African Proverbs? What are some ideas? I just want like one idea from each one of you. What are some ideas that you think we could apply to the Daily African Proverbs, let's say tomorrow, to make it better? And what are some ways that we could grow the Daily African Proverbs? I'm asking out of curiosity. We have 15 minutes, so Chioma, you can share your idea, Mala, then Teoti, then Ivnia, then Samantha, then Livia. Then after that, we will close the room, and Joanne and I are going to do the Instagram recap of today's session. I am grateful. Chioma, the mic is yours.
Oh, thank you, Simon. First, just thank you for being the goat and for being a big goat in this space, in this community, and just like on Clubhouse. You're really just amazing what you do. So thank you. Um, what's really staying with me in terms of like just application is paying attention and listening, and also thank you. Special thank you to like Marla and also Samantha and Livia, because I think what you all said kind of goes into what I'm about to say is giving people space to make noise, and particularly young people the space to make noise, and that sometimes young may not always be an age, like you mentioned, Livia, or like old may not always be an age, but also like young may not also always be an age. That some people, they may be older, but because like they hadn't had the time to like make noise or actually figure things out in life, they need that space to make noise where they are. So giving people grace, giving people space to make noise so that they can then grow to be that big goat who makes noise that is impactful, who makes noise with reason. So that is what I take away. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I feel that it's true. Noise is necessary, and each person has an important voice to contribute. But how you use that voice, is so important. So thank you, Chioma, and we will always have that in mind with the daily African proverbs. I take that as the advice. Hey Mala, thank you again for all the support of the app. Your support with Twitter is much appreciated. The mic is yours.
Again, hello and bonjour to everyone, and to those that weren't on the stage when I spoke initially. Hello to you all. I think, how it continues to resonate with me. The beautiful thing about knowledge is it's inexhaustible, right? So you come to it, you partake in it, you come away from it. And I wonder, in terms of the space, we're doing this daily trek, and it would be awesome to kind of see how we're watering those seeds, so like not necessarily recap, but reflection and rememory, because we're ingesting so many proverbs from so many different regions, and this opportunity to use them as points of inquiry and curiosity. So, we get the proverb itself, but then we get the land and the people and the culture that it comes from. And so the same way that many people went to research about the goat, that it gives us this opportunity, and that it's inexhaustible. How it sits with us today will sit different. And so that was to the room in general. But, just to kind of have space for us to kind of talk about, well, remember when we did Monday's one? Well, this is what happened later that day. And this is how I was able to apply that wisdom, and it's made a difference, or the impact, or how it made you change course or have more awareness or sensitivity. I think the opportunity to see the fruit, and to pull in some of the harvest of what is being cultivated in this room would be great. But the proverb specifically to this morning, for me as someone who sees myself, and part of the mission that I accept in this realm is to be a conduit, to be an amplifier. And so to be able to take and synthesize information, to be able to see the good brother, and the book, and the different things, and the poetry, and all of the different things that are coming out of these spaces, that when I choose to be the big goat, that I don't always have to share my thing, but I can use that time intentionally and with purpose to amplify the things of those that I am in community with. And that there's great value in that, and to be mindful to really choose what you say, and to not always have to say anything. I think in this Clubhouse space, the idea of jumping on stages and open up mics, but there's so much value. So to everyone in the listening lounge, just that we, all of it has purpose, because who would we be talking to? Just each other, the YouTube, the ways that you go into Instagram, into all these spaces. So just continuing to wish everyone well. And I'm looking forward to participating more frequently. This is Marla, and I'm complete.
Marla, I think that's a great idea. There's Agi on the YouTube chat. He's also saying that's a brilliant idea. I would love us to follow up on this, because I feel that this could be a situation where we get the recording from the previous week, and we can do such a show. But my question is whether you'd be interested in co-hosting it, or being involved with co-creating it. It could be a replay of some of these sessions. And I think these are some of the conversations that we can host in this club that are separate from the Daily African Proverbs, because at the moment we are in this club, primarily we are only hosting the Daily African Proverbs. But I imagine that if we wanted to assess the impact of some of these proverbs on Clubhouse, we could easily make some of you leaders in the club, so that you can host rooms where you grab a recording of the session and you play it and have a deeper conversation about the impact that it has had on people, because that's true. It's true even for me, and I love that idea. So thank you, Marla. And now we want to hear from Teoti, but I want to really thank everyone on YouTube. Today we have the highest number of viewers on YouTube since we started live streaming about 2.5 weeks ago. And also the engagement, just the community that we are building around these proverbs, it's really amazing, and I'm really grateful. So thank you so much. Now let's hear from Teoti. Teoti Heru Baku is also a really wise, gentle soul and spirit that has been bringing amazing wisdom into this room. And Teoti, I would love for you to just share with us, your one idea for the Daily African Proverbs room.
Thank you, Simon. And once again, thank you for such a great job. And thank you, everyone else, for your contributions. Wisdom is an ongoing, eternal conversation. It's passed on to us from our ancestors from thousands and sometimes even millions of years ago. And it's the accumulation of our experience. Proverbs are the daughters of experience. So the one idea I would like to leave with the group today is that our wisdom is something that belongs to all of us. And as indigenous people all over the planet, whatever land you come from, whatever land you're in, honor your ancestors and honor their proverbs. And I'll close with a proverb from ancient Egypt that says, do not be arrogant because of your knowledge. Take counsel with the fool as well as with the wise, for the limits of any art have never been reached. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, yet it can be found among the women who gather at the grindstone. And all that means basically for me is to pay attention to where wisdom comes from. It's usually unexpected, but it can come from a baby. It can come from somebody in a poor condition. It could come from the wealthy. It could come from anywhere. So just pay attention and love the wisdom your ancestors have given to you, and it belongs to all of us. I'm complete. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Teoti. Thank you very much. I love it. For me, that's part of my motivation, to love it and to embody it, to embody our African proverbs, to embody wisdom from our ancestors and our culture. I think it's very important. So I want to pass it to Ivnia. For those who are joining us, we had already shared our interpretations to today's proverb. And today's proverb is also my latest Instagram post. You can check it out on my Instagram account. But in 5 minutes, we are going to, not in 5, a little more than that. When we end this room, we are going to go live on Instagram to do the recap of today's session. And I'm going to be joined by Joanne, Joanne is in Nairobi, Kenya. She's an amazing contributor of this space. Joanne Onyango Obunga, and she's going to share with us, what stood out during today's conversation, what was surprising, and also what was the biggest lesson. So if you have a moment, please join us there around 7:10 a.m. this morning. That's Pacific Standard Time. Now I want to pass it to my brother Ivnea. The mic is yours.
Brother Teoti, you're not just a student of wisdom, you're a teacher of wisdom. I mean, listen to you the last two times. The proverbs that you shared with us, they are very, very deep. So I really appreciate that. So Simon, there's not a lot that I think that we can add to this daily African proverb sessions. I think one of the things that would be helpful, especially to those who are not very familiar with those proverbs, is to come up with a backstory or with some fun facts about certain things. For example, if we talk about goat, not so many people know about goats, and you can come up with some fun facts, some backstories. If you can research that when you introduce the proverb, maybe you can first give your interpretation of the proverb and give some backstories or some fun facts about the proverb. This way, we know a little bit about that proverb and why the ancestors said what they said. Thank you. I yield the mic back to you.
Wow, Ivnea, you always have good ideas. This one is doable too. I love it. So we will definitely consider it, and in our other conversations we should definitely bring this up. So thank you so much. Let's hear from Samantha.
Hi. Yeah, no, I definitely echo the suggestions that have already been shared. And it's so funny when Ivna mentioned learning about the backstory. There was actually an individual who came to mind, and our sister Chiomba came to my mind because I can remember in the early days of the room, more often than not, when she would share, she would have done some homework before, coming to the stage to share. And she would always bring these really interesting, quirky, fun facts that were pertinent to the, to the topic, to the proverb. So I definitely will always link fun facts to Chiomba. But I think that's definitely a good idea. And another thing that was done in the early days was, I think, was it midweek? I think like on Wednesday, like on Wednesdays, would be, picking, was it like a couple of the proverbs that were shared, or was it on Fridays? I can't even remember.
It
But
was
I
it
know
was
that there was,
I
do you
miss those
remember?
days. Yeah, I miss those
You
days.
see? You see? You know?
That used to be
See now?
good. Yeah.
Yes, it
But
used to be
listen,
good because
it used to be
it was
good.
an
Yeah.
opportunity it was just an opportunity to have that dialogue, because that's one thing that's a little bit missing from the session. And I know it's purposeful because you have a limited number, we have a little limited amount of time in the mornings. And so in order to stay to time, you've got to structure the room in a certain way. But those freestyle sessions where we would just pick, one proverb and then just go at it in more in a discussion sort of format, was really engaging, and it enabled us to learn more about each other as well, which sometimes can be lost because maybe we're focusing on a topic, or maybe just because we don't have enough time. So if I would if I were to nominate, something to come back is a setting where we can have more discussion. So that's my share.
I definitely miss those Wednesday sessions, and I think that's exactly what Mala was saying. Where we can now measure the
Indeed.
impact. Yeah. Wow, this is
Yeah.
coming together. So maybe me, you, and Mala need to get together and see if we can
For sure.
bring it back.
Definitely. I definitely would welcome that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And Ivnia, and whoever is interested, really, everyone on stage, and also if you're in the audience, if you want to connect about this, send me a message about it and just say, just say that you're interested in being a part of improving the daily African proverbs, because every day I'm also looking for guests for the YouTube portion of this. I'm also looking for guests for the Instagram portion of it. And I also just need help with things like retweeting. Once we share the posts on Twitter, on Instagram, a lot of the time you think that one like or one share is something small, but it's big, because if you look at where this movement was in January, it's not where it is now. Now imagine where it could be 5 years from now if, we just contributed like 2-3 minutes in the morning, to maybe just doing one of those things where we are struggling in. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that we are talking about it. I feel like the weight has been taken off of my shoulder. Okay, Livia.
Yes, hi. Yeah, I really loved what I heard, and there were some good ideas. And I feel like I don't have actually much to contribute. I really like the idea of a more discussion-based session on a Wednesday. That was because I think that was before my time. I have not experienced one of these sessions, and I would really like to, and very interested in how that would look like. However, I Googled 10 amazing facts about goats, and I thought because I'm the last one in line and so many amazing things have been said, I can just contribute to the fun facts that were asked for. So I'm going to pick a few to read. The first one says, a baby goat is called a kid, but did you know that a goat giving birth is said to be kidding? The second one says, goats are sociable animals and therefore become depressed if they are separated or isolated from their companions. However, they are not flock-orientated like sheep. Goats they are one of the cleanliest animals and are much more selective feeders than cows, sheep, pigs, swine, and even dogs. Goats are very intelligent and curious animals. Their inquisitive nature is exemplified in their constant desire to explore and investigate anything unfamiliar which they come across. And the last one I read is super fun. I think goats can be taught their name and they will come when called. So this is my contribution for the end of the session. And it was lovely to hear all your contributions and your voices. Thank you so much. And I yield the mic back to Simon.
Thank you very much, Livia. It's amazing. It's amazing about how goats also adapt their diet to where they live. We used to have city goats and rural area goats in Kenya, where I grew up. And city goats used to behave like city people, They wanted to eat mandazi. For those who come from Kenya, mandazi is like donuts. So the city goats just wanted donuts. They don't want vegetables. It was so funny to like see city goats also stealing donuts on the street. Like, if the people are selling donuts, just leave it like that. You'd see the goat eating the donut, and it would be... Nowadays that we have Instagram and so on and so forth, I think those would be really, really funny videos to have captured. But then, goats are also very, very healthy. Goat milk. I don't know if somebody spoke about that. Goats eat primarily herbs, and that's part of why their meat and their milk is really, really, healthy and tasty. I wanted to share that, especially because we raised so many goats in Kenya, and we roasted so much goat. There's this Kenyan barbecue style is called nyama choma, and if you go to visit with a friend and they don't do that for you, that's not a friend. If they don't get some goat meat and roast it for you nicely, and have it with kachumbari, it's like a salad, with it's just amazing. One day I'll share some with all of you. But we've come to the tail end of our conversation today here in the Daily African Proverbs room on Clubhouse, in the African Father in America Club. Please remember to follow the club in case you haven't. And if you are, please remember to invite your friends and your community members to the club. And if you're joining us on YouTube, thank you so much. It meant a lot to see our numbers increasing. So remember to like this video and share it with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. My channel is Simon Javan Okelo. I'm really, really grateful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Instagram for the recap with Joanne Onyango Obunga. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. You are listening to African Father in America podcast.